States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
One correction on the agenda, if any of you have a copy of it. The agenda says August the 11th, 2015. That is not correct, obviously. It is the correct agenda for today, the 5th. We have 5 public hearings to hear tonight. The first is a request to amend the conditional use permit for Cambria Crossing pertaining to single-family dwellings to allow a corner lot to have a 10-foot wide setback from the adjoining street instead of 15-foot setback, and to add provision to allow for all projections such as eaves, cornices, fireplaces, windowsills to project in the yard setback by a maximum of 2 feet. Is anyone here to address this issue?
Mr. Mayor, members of council, I'm Kevin Connor with Gay and Neal, 1260 Radford Street, here representing Shaw Development, Stakes and Homes, and I believe that's all the property owners we have. As some of you know from past planning commission and being on council, Cambria Crossing, we started that process in 2005, and slowly it's got momentum, and we're getting to the point we really got the ball rolling forward with a lot of development out there. What we're here for tonight, and we've done this in a few other instances as we've gone through the years, is this is a planned housing development, and we wrote our own conditions for that. It was approved by council and recommended by planning commission then. I've given you 3 drawings in front of you, and the conditions that planning commission, we developed with planning commission. We've got 3 corner lots, and on the drawing here, it's all the areas in pink. And I can bring it around if you need to, but it's all the lots that are in pink. There are 3 corner lots that will be affected, and we are asking for the current setback for corner lots.
Bring it out, Kevin.
Yeah, sure. So, I'll do this. We've got 3 corner lots at Cambria Crossing that would be affected. This one here, and then the 2 at the end of the cul-de-sac. And when the original conditions were written, they had 15-foot side setbacks and 10-foot front. I've never done that before, not where the side is greater than the front. So what we're doing is we're going back to requesting a 10-foot side setback, and that would match the front as well. And this drawing is lot 95, which is this corner lot right here, and it shows the home on there with a 10-foot side setback. The other 2 conditions involve, and this was kind of, I guess, just lack of knowledge on my part back in 2005. Just to give you a little context, in the town of Blacksburg, they have a section in their ordinance where you can have eaves, cornices, projections into the yard by 2 feet. That's a standard. It's just a standard in their zoning ordinance in every district. So what we're asking for is to allow eaves, cornices, things like that to project into the yard by 2 feet. And on the second page is an elevation of the townhomes. In this four group, there's one of these already out there at Cambria Crossing. If you look on the far right side and the left side, see there's an 8-inch overhang. That's what we're looking to do, basically. That's to summarize it. And on the next page is a single-family home elevation. If you look at the right side of that, just so that little architectural feature can project out, that's basically to summarize the request here. And we did have one neighbor that was already there that requested it not be, it's this lot right here. He already has his home here, and he just requested that we not do it on his side. So we that's condition number, I believe number 3 states that. Yeah, 2 and 3 both address 355 Rue de Bush Drive. So we don't, it was just a request of the neighbor, and we were glad to do that. So I'm here to answer any questions. I guess we'll vote on this next week, so.
Any questions?
So this has no effect on density or anything, it's just particular
It's
It's an aesthetic
characteristics of
look, isn't
those
it,
lots.
more so than
It's just
anything?
really an aesthetic thing. Yes.
Cosmetic.
Kevin, the fireplaces, those are not ground-based fireplaces, they're up
They're
above.
basically like window sills,
Yeah.
so to speak.
Okay.
Yeah, they don't go down to the ground, that's correct.
Okay. Thank you. Is there anyone else here to address this portion of the public hearing? If you would please, would you reach the podium, if you'll give us your name and address? We'd appreciate it.
My name is Walter Blueball, and I'm not privy to the paperwork or the pictures that you've shown your prints. My wife and I own 345 Rowdy Bush Drive, which is the only property that gives them a problem. Last year, in May, we moved from Reiner. We decided we wanted to live in Christiansburg. We investigated, we looked at all the setbacks, came up with a house plan. We are the only one with a one-level building. We have a lot of problems with the easements and the setbacks to fit our house on that particular lot. We are opposed to the 2-foot setback because we're only going to have 5 feet to start with, living them with 5 feet. Now, after looking at all the variances, there is a thing in the contract or in the HOA, according to variances, Article 7, I believe it is, Section 4 to variances. What I've outlined is when a unique circumstance dictates, then it can be addressed. I don't consider this a unique circumstance. Therefore, I'm opposed to that. And we are the only property without support. We're the only one can say anything. I don't have a problem with the corner setbacks, but I do have a problem with closing my property in that much. All the other neighbors, and I guess it's 1/3 to a half of that subdivision, have abided by those setbacks, whether it be to Windmill Hills, the 10-foot, the 45-foot, everything, all the setbacks, they've abided by that, and so did we. I had a lot of problems trying to fit an outbuilding because of the setback. Therefore, I am opposed to changing those side setbacks. Like I say, I wasn't privy to the prints that they have, and I'm not opposed to Statesman. Personally, I wish Statesman would have built my house, but they didn't have a lot big enough. Thank you.
May
Can I get your name one more time, sir?
Sir,
Your name one more time? I'm sorry, your name?
Walter Blueball, B-L-U-B-A-U-G-H. I moved from a 7-acre plot in Reiner, and I feel kind of closed in, so that 2-foot spot.
Is your house a red brick house?
Yes,
It's a beautiful home. I didn't know you were gonna be here this evening, but I was actually admiring. That's a nice home.
thank you.
I know exactly which one it is. You have garage on the right side.
Yeah, my wife and I, we designed the house, and luckily the contractor was able to build it, but it was a problem trying to fit it because of the square footage for a ranch house, which is 1,700 square feet.
So, but,
And there's quite a few easements behind because of sewer, water, and television, what have you.
it's a beautiful home, and so are we to understand that you're opposed to the setback just on your side?
Yes, sir?
Okay. And that's been addressed with the CUP, correct? Or been addressed with the,
I didn't
amendments.
quite hear the gentleman. I'm a
But
little
you're-
hard of hearing, and
But your concerns have been addressed with the condition in the amendment to the conditional use permit. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Blueball.
Let me make sure I'm clear on this. In the CUP, it has exempted his lot
Yeah,
from that
his
setback.
concern's been
So
addressed.
his concerns are addressed.
Correct.
Okay, that's what I want to make sure.
Thank you. Anyone else to address this subject? Hearing and seeing no one else come forward, we will close that portion of the public hearing. And public hearing number 2 is request to amend town code to have a density of 20 units per gross acre in a planned housing development. Anyone here to address this?
Hello, I'm Todd Robertson of Stakes and Homes. Typically, I believe Steve Simonis is typically representing us on our behalf, and he's unable to be here tonight. But we are looking at, and I think I was expecting, I guess, a projection up here. Can I get the map? Is there a map over here that I can use?
Joe? So
what we are proposing is that there's about a 10-acre parcel to the left here of the Villas of Pepper's Ferry. And meeting with the town staff, we wanted to propose apartments, luxury Class A apartments here, and we proposed 168 apartments. The town staff recommended that we change the density here on a planned community to 20 per acre. Our density is actually 16.5 per acre, giving us 168 units. And again, luxury Class A apartments have a large number of amenities such as a pool, clubhouse, a media room, exercise room. We have proffered that they have hardy board or cement type siding along with stone accents. Very architecturally appealing. They have really no back or rear facade, that they're the same architectural features on the complete surround of the building. We're very close, and part of the appeal to this for us is that it's really within walking distance of so many things and amenities of the town. Obviously, we're very close to the proposed town park on this side of Pepper's Ferry Road. We're very close to the Huckleberry Trail. We're very close to shopping and dining and restaurants. And it's a very appealing place for a higher density project. Obviously, our primary business is a home builder. We see and build homes for people from all over the country, and in many cases from overseas that are moving here through technology jobs, research jobs, and jobs with the university. One of the challenges that we face, and not just us as a home builder, but really for our community, is the supply of nice housing, especially temporary housing. So many of our families, for example, we have a young family just moved here from Belgium. 2 children. They wanted to be able to live in the area for a period of time before they decided where they wanted to live. And there is almost zero supply of that in the New River Valley for upscale, nicer housing. We expect the rents to be anywhere from $11.50 up to $14.50. Bedrooms will primarily be 2 bedrooms with a mix of 1 and 3 bedroom homes as well in the community. And I'll be here the rest of the evening to answer questions as
Any questions off of council? I will call it, I believe this is the email that Steve Simonis had sent to each of us, outlining basically what you've done. Mr. Simonis had a death in his family, so. But anyway, any questions at this point on this public hearing?
I think you're asking for a density of 20, but you don't think you're gonna, I wanna just go over that again. But was it 16, is that what you expect that you're gonna do?
Our proposed density is 16.5 per acre. And I think the reason for asking for 20 is that it can be used, once this is done, my understanding is that you, as a council and the planning commission, would be able to, in certain select locations, to be able to go up to that density and make that part of, I guess, your town zoning.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
This is a request to change the town code to allow up to 20 units per gross acre within a planned housing development. So it's not specifically for them, it's to change the town code, and then the next 2 requests will address their specific project.
But changing the town code to 20, that's the max they could have. And then we do have planned housing developments are reviewed. And there may be instances where there be locations that don't support up to 20 just because of the location. But they visualize this as being one that would support that density of 16.8.
That's correct. Thank you, Barry. That was a better explanation than I gave.
I would presume that the reason that our president, and I'm not taking a position on this now, but I would presume that our maximum density of 10 per acre has been more premised on townhome type developments. Familiar with zoning in other jurisdictions, the town of Blacksburg, for instance, their maximum density for similar type development is what's called a RM 48, which is 48 beds per acre, bedrooms per acre. So in that scale, you'd be looking at, let's see, 48 beds per acre would be, how many units? That would be 24 units per acre. If they were average two bedrooms, that would be 24 per acre. So it's, what you're asking, or what the request is for, is similar to, a similar type density for apartments in a nearby jurisdiction.
That's correct. And I think our logic to some of this is that there are certain locations downtown and areas such as around the mall there that do support the higher density that would be a better use of land planning in this particular case.
And when are you expecting to, if this is approved, when would you be starting this?
Sure. So we would be seeking HUD financing. HUD has a section of financing that allows for luxury apartments. And it has some very favorable terms, such as a 40-year amortization period. It's a non-recourse, and it's an assignable type loan. So it's very attractive. And it allows us, for the most part, to be able to offer the luxury element of this that maybe traditional financing would not allow us to do. And with that, it's about an 18-month process to go through the rigorous pieces that go into the proposing the financing package and getting the HUD approval. From that point on, so from this, let's call it, if we were to get this approved by October 1st, it would likely be about 18 months after that before we could actually break ground. The construction project itself would last about 12 to 18 months as well.
And that would be connected to the 114 by Quinn Stewart,
Yes, sir.
and that interchange right there close to Merchants Tire and Auto.
That's correct.
And planning commission discussed the traffic at some length, didn't they? I'm not sure if you want to comment on that.
Yeah, this is on the next one, I think, is that correct, the Quinn Stewart
Is that the
thing?
next one? Okay.
Yeah, this is a request to develop, change the conditions. Okay. Anything else? Anyone here to address this portion of the public hearing? Thank you. Rezoning request for property north of Quinn W. Stewart Boulevard from A agriculture to R3 multifamily residential district. Sam, is this the same?
It's all the same property. There's 3 public hearings that involve this property. Basically, it's a straight rezoning.
Is there anyone here to address the rezoning for Quinn Stewart Boulevard?
Are these all connected, 2, 3, and 4?
I'm sorry, your name, sir?
My name's Jeff Greeno.
Okay.
Yes.
So are they, so I'd like to say.
Sure.
So again, my name's Jeff Greeno. I live off of Stafford, in a development called Stafford Parks. Stafford Road also will be impacted. That's something that wasn't accurate in my opinion. It's Quinn Stewart will be impacted, but Stafford shall be greatly. And I think that the property, can you just map? So this property that we're talking about here is tax parcel 435-405. In the previous meetings, we talked about R1 back here, and that's going to be developed as well, correct? So what we're actually talking about is impact that's going to happen on Quinn Stewart and Stafford from this development. And now the Statesman's, I would call them, it's their own apartment complexes. It's not luxury apartments, they're gonna sell their own. So it is to their favor, and I understand that they get the density changed so that they can have more revenue in a sense. And amenities like a swimming pool and a clubhouse are great. However, I just think sometimes in Christiansburg, we pack things in a little too tightly, that there isn't enough amenities for us to be outside. Now, we talked about going to the Huckleberry Trail and walking to downtown, but what provisions are there made in either one of these developments for anyone to be outside or to make themselves be able to walk from point A to point B? I addressed last time I was here, I guess in this discussion, that if you were to walk down Stafford Road today, I don't think anybody could get away with it without worrying about their own health. Another concern I have also is that with this density that we're putting on the side of town, that if you're to deploy paramedics or EMT or police from here to that end of town, it is a big problem. So my concern is that as we completely change and compact things here, we're not actually being conscious about what is it like to live there. I mean, builders build houses, but they don't actually live in the houses that they build. No offense, please forgive me. But I just don't think this is a good idea all the way around. If somehow the density could not be so congested, or that we could change Stafford Road or Quinn Stewart as well and make them more pedestrian friendly, that might make a big difference. So thanks.
Any questions? Thank you.
I'd like to talk to that issue.
Yes, ma'am.
My name is Susan Hood. I live on Walters Drive, which connects through Stafford to Stafford Road. I wouldn't walk on that street for anything. I've been pushed into the grass with a car. You don't want to walk on that street. If the person that's going to build would be willing to make Stafford a better street, would they put money into that being a street with some sidewalks and widen it? I cannot imagine apartments right there. And I do use it because I cut through there because it's easier for me to get out on 114 than from Walters. So, these may be nice apartments, but I just don't think that's a good area for them to be in. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hood. Anyone else? Okay, and I think the last, we've gone through the first four they kind of all run together for me now. Resume request for conditional use for planned housing development in R3 multifamily residential district.
It's all the same.
All the same. Anyone add anything different to, yes, sir? Oh,
Go ahead.
So I did want to address a couple of items that just were brought up, and that we have proposed, I think, proffered an extra right-of-way off of Stafford Road to be able to expand that road in the future. And we've also proffered that a sidewalk go alongside of the apartment community, the full length of it as well, so that it would help give pedestrian access for Stafford Drive. And that's the part that I wanted to add there.
thank you.
Hello, my name's Jamie King. I live on Stafford Farms as well, on the opposite side of Stafford from the development. I again want to talk about the traffic. This is at least the third development in the past 10 years that's been brought up over there. Each time the construction has gone there, there's been discussions about Stafford, how much traffic it is, how much traffic it can't hold, how hard it is to get out on 114. So, like I said, this is at least the third time this discussion's happened and nothing's been done. If you go further out Stafford, right past Quinn Stewart, there's a curve by that church there. The road narrows on that curve. It's dangerous for two cars to pass there alone.
much less if you're walking or riding a bike or anything else. You're adding 168 families to your transient, transient people will be living in apartments, see if they want to stay, doing their job here, etc. You're planning more traffic there, more stress on that road that's overstressed already, as well as you're continuing to develop that entire area there and behind. Sure, it's a lot more houses, but will you eventually look like some of the overbuilt areas in town that you can't even see a tree or see a squirrel or anything? I mean, I'm nervous now when I let my children ride their bicycles on Stafford without me. Just going, it's so easy to get to all these areas, but in that 100 yards between my house and these areas, getting there, you kind of feel like the game Frogger, watching out for cars left and right. I mean, often I've come up behind the bicycle and you stop at the curve, waiting to see if you can clear it. And sure, these are more families, but there'll be more people doing the same thing. And will it take somebody get hit by a car or somebody killed in that area before something's done? Thanks.
Thank you.
Can I go back?
Yes, sir.
I know this is the parcel we're talking about that Statesman is building, but Statesman has nothing to show us of what they're doing. Sure, they've made amenities for sidewalks, but we don't have anything to look at. There's nothing that shows us. I'm sure he will do that, and what they're saying is true. However, what type of open spaces are we leaving for all these families that he's talking about coming? A 2-bedroom condo or complex or apartment, to me, doesn't really enlist itself to be a family home if you have, 2 parents and 2 children. And most of them, they're going to be just 2-bedroom apartments. So is it really families that we're talking about? Or are we actually going to get a lot more transient people than what we just discussed? My question again is to the property in the back. What green space was allowed for those folks at all? There's no cul-de-sacs anymore allowed in this town because it's not conducive. It's a little too expensive, so we have just throughways all the time. And so if there's always just throughways, everybody's just in a hurry to get somewhere. So again, it's a concern that what we have to see, we don't have anything to see. And this is going to get voted on at what date? Can you tell me?
Should be on agenda 2 weeks from tonight.
So 2 weeks from now. So will we see something from the Statesman?
We have, yes.
Okay.
We have drawings from them.
Paul Sinsmeyer, 191 Patriot Way in the Villas at Pepper's Ferry. We've gotten to know Todd very well. And we had a meeting on July 30th and him talking in detail about, and also Steve Simonis. We talked in detail about this whole concept, what's going on, the density, all the issues that have been addressed so far. Our meeting was well attended and resulted in many good questions being answered. The general feeling after the meeting was that Class A luxury apartments do fit well with the future land use map of Christiansburg and the comprehensive plan. And it also would coordinate well with the villas. We're kind of similar communities but different emphasis on density and all that sort of thing. The multiple family rezoning plan is also designed to enhance the previously approved single family development. And by doing so, it fits well with the villas. So we're as excited about that possibility as it might ever have been. We've been, since we moved in, expecting more development up on top of the hill there where all the dust was coming down at us from for 10 years. It just recently stopped, by the way. We have expressed our request to the developer to install entrance landscaping and attractively landscaped berms at the beginning of construction. This would benefit the developer as well as helps control construction dust. Our community is very sensitive about this issue, as I alluded to already, because dust, sediment, and erosion were serious and enduring problems during previous soil movement in the area contained in this particular zoning request. The man is still selling topsoil from that area, and the machinery runs and makes all this racket all the time, and some dust is still coming from that. So, we've been deluged with it for years. Anything that can be done to help that, please. We've seen the Ramey Kemp and Associates letter indicating that a stoplight at Peppers Ferry and Quinn Stewart is warranted under the conditions of increased traffic volumes expected upon build-out of this future residential development. We urge you to seek ways to install a light well prior to build-out to avoid potentially life-threatening accidents. I've personally witnessed people getting trapped out there at Quinn Stewart and Peppers Ferry and have to back into Quinn Stewart. And they'll get out there and traffic will slow down from them. It's amazing. We've only had one accident that I know of. It's a poorly designed intersection to start with, and it's a trap. The next statement coming out of our meeting is we're all aware of this problem along Stafford Road. And we also encourage you to proactively develop a solution to at minimum the portion of Stafford Road that will also see increased traffic, at least from Quinn Stewart out Stafford to Peppers Ferry. The traffic is really bad out there. Sunday morning when churches get out, you might as well stay home. I've ad-libbed a little bit, but I'm leaving a copy of this statement here with you for you to have. We're trying to be good neighbors and welcome early development because we've always expected it.
Mr. Sinsmeyer, I have a question for you.
Yes.
You're speaking on behalf of the Villas of Peppers Ferry, the HOA,
Yes.
and what you've provided to us is meeting minutes and directives that came out of that meeting.
It's a summary type thing of the result of that meeting.
Well, my question is, you mentioned that the Villas of Peppers Ferry is on board with this, both in the aesthetic sense that it kind of goes along with the Villas of Peppers Ferry, but also because of the your understanding of those, or my understanding is that you support it in relation to a stoplight being approved prior to any construction.
Yes.
And or prior to any vote. Is that my understanding? That's why the Villas is okay with this, both aesthetically, but also because they feel as long as a stoplight not only is warranted but is approved for that area.
It needs to be there
Sure.
as soon as possible because once construction starts, which is probably some months away, but it takes some months to get those things.
I agree with you. It needs to be done now. I agree with you wholeheartedly on that. But my point though is, if a stoplight is not approved for that intersection, speaking for the HOA, is the Villas of Peppers Ferry on board with this construction plan?
We would probably turn down.
Okay.
We also think that it's mandatory that Stafford be improved because traffic's gonna be going both ways at different times,
Stafford's
different directions. And Stafford, I would like to go out that way sometimes myself, but it's so narrow you don't feel safe on it, with just two cars, let alone anybody walking.
Thank you.
We agree. We've walked it. And it's a wonder you're not killed. As two cars approach.
Anyone else to address this issue?
I'd like to add one more thing. We have met with the town staff as well, and we are very much in favor of a traffic light and looking for possible solutions for that traffic light as well. We are willing, and the Halberstadt family, which is also the seller of the property, are looking at ways to also participate in some of the financial cost burden of that particular light.
Are you all familiar with the cost burden of the light, Mr. Robertson, or?
We are.
Yes.
It's
Okay.
extremely expensive,
Yes.
and obviously, at the full amount of that light, this project will not be feasible.
Sure.
So.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay, you ain't changed your name since the first time. We got you.
So a Quentin Stewart Boulevard light at 114 has always been a great idea. A concern I have is that if and when the light comes, in relationship to this light, you have another light just right there at the intersection of Walmart and the new mall entrance. And if they're not timed right or synchronized, you're gonna have enormous traffic problems.
We're aware of that.
I just wanna make sure that you're aware and I'm aware.
We're
Thank
aware.
you. Okay.
If we weren't, you had made us aware. Thank you very much. Okay, any other comments before we get out of the land, conditional use permits and things? The fifth item on the public hearing is issuing a bond loan to fund the police department building renovation and the purchase of land for a future road.
I have one correction to make from the packet that was sent out in the resolution that we're hoping to pass tonight. We added inserted paragraph 12 to make reimbursement for previous expenses up to 60 days before. And so we bought the first piece of land on North Franklin. That could be included in this. That's what our intent was, but it was left out of the first resolution.
Okay.
So we can reimburse ourselves for that piece of property.
We have closed on that property?
Yes.
It's the one we discussed a couple of weeks ago, I think it was. Passed. All right. Very good. Is there anyone to address the bond loan?
I have one question for Mr. Helms, Mr. Mayor, on the bond loan.
Yes, sir.
The, how much information on that has been divulged to the public for them to be able to review that as well?
Is in the packet.
In the packet, is there any, that was, so for 5 days, the packet came out? Okay, thank you.
And it was all, well, the discussion of that loan, I believe, was in the minutes.
It was.
That were approved a couple of weeks ago.
It was.
So, okay, very good. Now I'm gonna close the public hearing. I'm going to call a regular meeting of the town council.
And Mr. Mayor, I'd go ahead and move at this point to modify the current meeting that we have scheduled for an addition. And I believe we could do it on the consent agenda, but add a number 3. I believe everybody has a resolution before them in regards to Help Save the Next Girl. And I would request, if it be unanimous, that we add that as item number 3 on the consent agenda. Allows us to go ahead and approve that now and get working on that for October.
Got a second?
Second.
Second, third, fourth, and fifth, it seems like, so that's good. Okay, any discussion? All those in favor of adding that and amending the agenda signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay. We will proceed to the consent agenda, which is the council meeting minutes from the 11th, August the 11th, the monthly bills, and the Help Save the Next Girl resolution.
Make a motion that we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion and a second.
I've got a couple of questions.
Oh, okay, let's get
On the
questions.
consent agenda?
I've got yeah, on the consent agenda, I do have a couple of questions. Maybe I should have asked them earlier. On page 1 of the bills,
Yes, sir.
the hauling of the biosolid, are we hauling that to some farmer or something other using it, or?
Yes, they go, goes to farmland.
It goes to farmland, but we pay to get it to the farmland.
Yes, sir.
Okay, that was my question.
We pay to get rid of it.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
No, it's all staying here in the county, I think, most of it. Okay, was that your?
That's it, I'm going to quit.
Okay, any further questions? Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Yes, sir. Councilman Bishop.
Aye.
Councilman Hall.
Aye.
Councilman Hubbard. Councilman Showalter.
Aye.
Councilman Stipes.
Aye.
Councilman Van Huzer.
Aye.
I believe that passes 6-0. And for the audience that does not have a privy to the resolution, we have decided to, with council's blessing, to declare the month of October Help Save the Next Girl month. And if any of you have seen it, I mean, it's all over, helping troubled youth and girls and giving safety things, safety pointers and tips to them. So we wanted to do that for the entire month and to claim the 17th of October as Help Save the Next Girl Day. And the significance of that is the day that Morgan Harrington disappeared from Charlottesville. So, and her parents have formed this Help Save the Next Girl Foundation. So we wanted to honor them with declaring this month and the month of October as that. Do not believe we have anything in recognitions, is that correct? Okay. Citizens hearing. This is where we open up the floor to any citizens that may want to come before council to bring us any information, make any statements, or propose things that we need to look at. Is there anyone here that would like to address town council? Ms. Turner, you're quiet tonight.
Well, yes, Mr. Barber, I will.
You know, you were knitting so hard, I'm afraid I would close this thing before you
No,
paid
I
attention
wasn't
to.
planning on doing so. I just came back so you all would know I was still alive.
Okay.
I know that you all have missed me since you want me to come up and speak. Circumstances did not permit me to attend several of the other meetings, of which at the time I wanted to say something about when we had pickup of the leaves or something. I can't even remember, it's been so long, but I thought I was doing the right thing in gathering my leaves, putting them in my old trash cans, so the guys didn't have to get out and load them up or have the bulldozer thing load them up. And that I would have my old trash cans again because I didn't put them out to be taken away when I got my new trash can. So all 3 of my trash cans went away. So next time I have to do my leaves and do my brush and everything, they'll just have to bend over, pick it up, or use those machines and block the traffic or whatever.
I saw 3 trash cans in the back of Barry's truck not too long ago.
They might not have been the best, but they were still serviceable.
Could be wrong.
The other thing then, I think, and again, I wasn't prepared for all of this, but I think that our water and our sewer is going up again. And it hadn't been too long ago that it went up. Our taxes have gone up, both town and county. My electricity has gone up. My insurance, when October gets here, is going up to the tune of $733 a month for me, for one person, because I'm still with the county. But come March, I'll be 65 and I'll have that little bit of money there. But I just want to say, my retirement hasn't gone up. My Social Security hasn't gone up. But everything else is going up. And I'm not real happy in that regard. The flowers look very beautiful downtown. And I like the flags downtown. And I'll be glad when the construction of the new 911 building is done. And I pity those people when the new construction starts out there with the dust and the dirt, if they've been experiencing it, because I know what that's like also. I am back.
You know, sometimes you wonder why you even wake up the sleeping ones, but, you know, thank you, Connie, we appreciate it. At least you could have said the alumni return went well, but otherwise, that's all.
The alumni return did go well. We had over $2,000 in scholarship money raised. We had our meeting last night, and we will be meeting again. I forgot which month, March, thank you. And would love to have a lot more alumni come to help, especially with ideas, and to maybe do something different. But the police officers coming with the color guard was wonderful, so inspirational. The 2 young men that sang, if you weren't there, you missed a wonderful song there by them, and the taps being played. And this was the first year, and this was the 7th, that I did not take down chairs or put up or take down tables. I actually ran my mouth, believe it or not.
Thank you, Connie. Ms. Turner. Is there anyone else here to address town council? Seeing and hearing none, I will close the citizens portion, the citizens hearing portion. Staff reports, Barry, we don't have any tonight? Okay, well, we're getting right along here. Discussion by mayor and council members, will one be council action on issuing a bond loan to fund the police department building renovation and purchase of land for future road.
I move that we authorize the issuance of a bond for
Okay,
this application.
I have a motion,
I'll second.
a motion and a second, is there any discussion?
Just want to thank Ms. Tweedy for the role she played in this process in making it sensible to us.
Yes.
That's the best word to say.
Clearly
Right.
explained the options, and I was really pleased with that.
Absolutely. And again, and I also appreciate the conversations that we had with Barry as well about going over this. I think it's a great idea, but we had a lot of options on the table, and it's nice to have that, a good, actually more than one opportunity to discuss that. So I think we arrived at a very good plan, and certainly very good loan terms and all. So again, very, very impressed with the way this all worked out. Long time coming for the police department and for that road.
I'd like to, since we are, for posterity's sake, we're on camera, but I'd like to applaud council for the vision that I think we're taking, thinking beyond the next election and thinking about the next generation, I guess, as far as the highest priority road that we have on our plans now to connect Route 114 to North Franklin Street in a very logical location that's going to tremendously benefit all the residential areas and so forth in town. And this isn't something that our citizens are going to notice the immediate benefit of, but I think that this council is making a very wise choice and taking advantage of a clear opportunity now that we would, if we weren't taking this action, we'd be paying through the nose for it later. So I want that on the record, that I think this council is making a very wise choice for the next generation of our citizens.
Not to piggyback on that, Brad, but me personally, I kept thinking about again, the feasibility because of the cost incurred here. But again, as we all discussed it and talked about it, and again, we had input from Barry and the like, it makes a lot of sense in the future. It might not make a whole lot of people happy in the present, but I think it is going to go a long way into calming some of those, what's going to be some serious issues we would have if we didn't have that opportunity. So I think you're exactly right.
All right. Any further discussions? Madam Clerk?
Yes, sir. Councilman Bishop? Councilman Hall?
Aye.
Councilman Hubbard?
Aye.
Councilman Showalter?
Aye.
Councilman Stipes?
Aye.
Councilman Van Huzer?
Aye.
It will be 6-0, that motion passed. Thank you. Reappointment of Scott Weaver to serve as representative on the New River Valley Agency on Aging, and Richard Ballinger to serve as an alternate. The appointment would begin October the 1st, 2015, and end September 30th, 2016. October 1/15 through September of 16. There is a letter that I have in my possession. I think we have, it's circulated for your initials, that Mr. Weaver has served the Agency on Aging, I guess, since its inception, 40 years, and while Mr. Weaver's health is not always the stellar that it was, he still would like to be able to serve. I talked to him at length, and he wants to continue as long as he can. Richard Ballinger has agreed to serve as an alternate, and I think Dick goes to several of the meetings, but in honor of Scott and his longevity, I would like to request that we reappoint them.
Move to reappoint Mr. Weaver
Along
and
with
Mr. Ballinger as an alternate.
And I'll second that.
Second? Oh, second, all right. Any further discussion?
You know, I would like to say this, I was able to go to the thing that the Agency on Aging gave to Mr. Weaver, it was about 2 weeks ago, and it's just amazing what Scott has done during the last 40 years for the town of Christiansburg, and the different things that he's been involved in. And it was a very nice presentation, and I think he really appreciated it, and I think it was very good that they did that.
And basically, he didn't start these things till he was in his 50s.
That's true, that is true. All right, so we have, any further discussion? If not, Madam Clerk, I'll ask you to call the roll.
Councilman Bishop? Councilman Hall?
Aye.
Councilman Hubbard?
Aye.
Councilman Showalter.
Aye.
Councilman Stipes.
Aye.
Councilman Van Hoosier.
Aye.
6-0, and so I will pen the letter back to the agency acknowledging the reappointment. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Council reports. Who wants to go first? I've been picking people. Sam, you got anything?
Yes, I'll go first.
Okay, Sam, good.
This is just for information purposes that the Christiansburg Rescue Squad has a new van which is used to transport passengers. Their staff, the training back and forth, and this frees up the emergency vehicles. And the good thing with the purchase of this van, it did not cost the citizens any money. As my understanding, it was purchased with the Revenue Recovery Funds. So money has been used.
Very good. Is there an open house the 19th? Did I see something?
There is one, I don't recall the date right now. Yeah.
There's something that I was handed at the Heritage Foundation days about an open house, and I think it's September the 19th.
I think it's somewhere around that.
They have invited, they're inviting the citizens to just come and see what all they have out there. I will double check that and make sure that you get a copy of it. Anything else?
That's all I have.
Mr. Hall?
Mr. Mayor, I have nothing to comment on. I'm going to defer to Mr. Hubbard.
Oh, God.
No. Wait a minute, I'm gonna save the best to next to the last. I'm last, so.
What I was talking about, I think it means more coming from Mr. Hubbard than from me.
Okay.
I'm not going to say anything, but I'm sure Mr. Hall reserves an opportunity to rebuttal.
I appreciate it.
He's got that Segway parked outside, buddy, I'll tell you. Mr. Stipes?
I'd like to give a brief report from the Bikeway Walkway Committee. And I'm not sure what Councilman Hubbard was gonna talk about, so hopefully I'm not taking away from him, but on September 11th, which is a Friday, 2 Fridays from, or a week from, or 2 Fridays from this Friday, something very exciting is gonna happen, the grand opening of the bridge. Did I take that away?
Yeah.
No, we're not. Drive on.
No, if that was what you were gonna talk about.
I'm gonna pass it off to Mayor Barber anyway.
Well, that's at 3:30 on September 11th. You can talk about the 12th then too. But on September 11th at 3:30 at the bridge is gonna be the grand opening, and it is gonna be a pretty significant event. And hopefully will be very well attended by many of the people that have helped make that happen. That will help not just celebrate this, but also what's coming next for the Huckleberry Trail and continue the momentum that trail represents. So.
Okay. Henry, Mr. Showalter?
Just real quick, just on behalf of the Central Business District Committee, we're still working on our advisory board, a few more weeks, but I just want to thank all council for meeting. I know we're not directly involved with the farmers market, but that is one of the items that will be rolled into it. But I appreciate everybody taking the time. I think when we visit certain agendas like that and keep that in our sites, then they'll be more successful. So I appreciate everybody taking the time to meet and voice their opinions on it.
Okay. Thank you. Mr. Hubbard?
And I am gonna pass off to you, Mayor Barber.
Thank you, Mr. Hubbard. We have a 8-mile bridge challenge walk on Saturday, September the 12th, 2015, starting at 8:15 in the morning. And it basically, you'll walk from the library in Blacksburg to the recreation center. We're going to provide a shuttle bus leaving the rec center at 8:30. This is limited to the first 70 participants, is that right?
Correct.
Okay, limited to the first 70 registered Christiansburg Rec Center. Each will receive a complimentary T-shirt. The brochure and the sign-up sheet is here. I'll have it available if anybody would like information on it.
What's the shuttle for?
Take them to Blacksburg.
And the race starts at 8:15, the bus leaves at 8:30?
Well, the registration and the gathering is, I don't know. There's some fast walkers, because they're gonna get here, they're gonna get back before they leave, actually. That's at daylight savings time, it goes out here that time. They're gonna have water, anyone under age 17 must be accompanied by an adult. They're having free beverages available for walkers at the completion of the walk. Restrooms are available at the rec center. And you register at the rec center, 1600 North Franklin Street. Does that pretty much get it, Mr.?
Well, the whole point of this is, we are gonna.
That's all.
Thanks for the introduction, Mike.
Full member.
But the bridge is gonna be dedicated on Friday, okay, at 3:30, like they've said. And then, of course, the bridge is connecting Blacksburg to Christiansburg. So just to tie it all together, that morning, we're gonna go out there and have just a walk, it's not a race, it's just on your own pace, and do that. Of course, you're gonna go over the bridge, and I think it should be nice. And some people say the Hokies are playing that day, and the Hokies are playing that day, but the Hokies are playing at 3:30. So, you know, we walk, it'll take about 3 hours, you know, but it's a very nice walk.
And just to, what is it, Mr. Hall, segues to everything, is that correct? Is they see this? On the ribbon cutting, we're going to assemble at the parking lot beside of Regal Cinema Theaters and have some opening remarks, and I think that then we will move to the center of the bridge somewhere for the actual ribbon cutting. Is that?
That's my understanding.
I'm not.
That's my understanding.
Yeah.
Okay, and there will be a lot of people that will be there. I know Bill Ellenbogen has agreed to come, and he's very instrumental in getting this whole thing started. We'll have representatives from VDOT and the people that are the design and build team. So it will be a nice event. There is an open house after the ribbon cutting at the Holiday Inn. We're working with them now, I believe. So.
And I'm a little bit selfish about this whole thing. Where also, after the bridge is dedicated, there is gonna be a bench, if you walked up there, right at the very top, and that bench,
Would you like me to announce that for you, Steve?
yeah,
There's a bench that has been donated in honor of Janice Hubbard. I saw the plaque on it yesterday. It is a good, it is a nice venture from the family. We appreciate it, and it is very tastefully done, very tastefully designed, and I think this is part of an apt tribute to her.
thank you.
Yes, sir. I have a couple of things on my council reports. First and foremost, I think I'm a member of the American Legion, and I was at a Legion meeting the first of last month, and I had a comment and a request from the American Legion, backed up by the VFW, and they wanted to change the little traffic circle there where the veterans monuments, all that have passed away. They wanted to change that street name and designate this, and so I got to thinking about it, and I called Craig Meadows, and he's exactly like me and Barry. We don't know who really owns that thing. It's kind of theirs, it's kind of ours, it's kind of all of us's. But what I had recommended, and I have Craig's blessing to consider this, and well, I'll ask town council if we can consider it later, at a later date. But I would like to name that Monument Park, Veterans Monument Park. Not really change the name of the street to the circle around it. And I've already kind of semi-talked to Public Works, and I think they can build us provide us with a sign. And we would like to do this dedication, if council agrees. We would like to do this in conjunction with the Veterans Day celebration in November. So I will give you some more information as it comes to me. I know the VFW, and this will be one of the signs the type signs that our Public Works people can produce. And my hopes are down the road that the VFW and the American Legion will come together for a better sign and maybe like a brick, very similar to what we have out front. So anyway, that's what I'd like to ask you all at least to consider that, to allow this to be done. And as I said, I'll get you a little bit more information as we move along. The Montgomery County Museum, which we're a very giving sponsor of, held their Heritage Day celebration this past weekend, and Steve, I know Mr. Hubbard was there, I don't know whether anybody else got, Jim was there, anybody got by there or not, but it's probably the biggest turnout for this event that I have ever seen. It far exceeded last year and the year before. They had a lot of good things there. I did something that I will promise to you right now that I will never do again. I had to judge with Ron Rordum and Chris Tuck and Lisa Bleakley. We had to judge a pie contest. And there were 18 pies there. And I'm a type 2 diabetic, so I'll just tell you, I really was on cloud 9 for a while, but I told them I will not do that again. We only had a couple of bites of each pie, but 18 pies is tough. I'm telling you, I don't want to do that again. So if I say that somebody's asked me, please remind me that I made the public statement. I'm not going to do this again. Progress reports.
I'd like to set a public hearing for boundary line adjustment between the town and the county for the 22nd of September. It's out at their new dog shelter where the town-county boundary goes through the middle of their lot. So
We done it one time, didn't we? Was
We
that
talked
different
about it.
we
piece?
talked about who would proceed with it and
Okay.
go over to the public
Okay.
hearing portion. So that's the only one I need to set.
All righty, what else now?
I move that we set it for what date?
22nd of September.
22nd September.
Is that a meeting night?
Yep.
I've got my dates totally.
8th and the 14th. 14th be the 22nd, yeah.
Okay, sounds good. So the 22nd,
Yes, sir.
any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Certainly there's no one opposed. Next.
Okay, at your place, you have a little update on the stormwater utility fee, what progress we're making. Gospel sing this weekend downtown, I believe.
29th, yes, sir.
And got some information.
Thank you for this information.
Got some information on the marketing plan for Aquatic Center. We talked with Councilman Huntsinger and Associates about what they would do, what it takes for them to do a operational audit and a marketing plan. Operational audit would be about $17,500 plus travel expenses, and a marketing plan and would be about $15,000 plus travel expenses, and then if they implemented, the assistants implementing that, there's an hourly fee on those. So pass that along. That's information we found out. Probably need to put that in the budget for next year if that's what we want to work on.
Is that a shared cost with tourism, or is this what we're just gonna do?
This was just ours.
Okay.
A little more than I expected. But that they deal exclusively with pools. It's their niche. And that's all I have to.
Mr. Helms, I'm sorry, when was the gospel sing again?
Saturday.
Saturday night, the
29th.
20th.
At what time?
5 to 9, I believe it is. We have issued a permit to
remember
block
this time.
Main Street.
Saturday, okay.
It's a very exciting event. I know that a lot of people are looking forward to this. I think the flyer says they're going to have food trucks and other concessions there.
Didn't they say they were gonna set up about 500 chairs?
They're gonna provide seating, but it's also if you wanna bring your own chair and kind of sit off to the side in case you have to leave early, like I would have to do. And we've looked at something, and I was trying to remember the date. The food truck rodeo, Nicole, is that the 25th? Is that a Friday night?
It's in September, I think it's September 25th.
But it is a Friday night.
Yes,
Okay.
it's Friday.
Steve, I had it
Sounds
25th or 26th.
The 25th is Friday.
Okay, so that's coming up soon. We'll meet again before that. Anything else to come before council?
One more question on progress reports. Yeah, it's been a while to one on the Huckleberry Trail, since that came up tonight. My understanding was that the Huckleberry Trail this summer was gonna be behind Lionsgate. What's up with that?
They're waiting on VDOT's final approval on the plans.
That was
No,
gonna
that's
be,
the next phase.
that was gonna be advertised back in May, I think.
It wasn't. So, I'll
I'd
be
like
back with their.
I'd like to report on that the next time, please. Thanks.
Anything else? Full council. We are adjourned. Thank you very much.
Oh, Mike, you got something to give me?
I missed-
Okay, so, ladies and gentlemen,